And joining us now is Democratic Congressman Glenn Ivey of Maryland. He's a member of the Ethics Committee, also serves on the Homeland Security and Judicial Committees. Congressman, thanks for being here. You've said you still believe the ethics report on Gates should be released. Why?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly precedent for that. We've had other members of Congress retire or leave their service in Congress for one reason or another, but still release the ethics report depending on the circumstances. And the fact that he's not in Congress now doesn't mean he won't be in Congress again in January. So he resigned from his seat currently, but he was reelected. And so he's a congressman-elect as well. So he could actually come back and become a member of the next Congress on January 3rd. In addition to that, if Marco Rubio gets through the nomination processes and confirmed to the Trump cabinet, it's potentially it's a possibility he could become a member of the Senate by appointment in Florida. And there's always, other possibilities with respect to his career, running for governor, for example, or other potential appointments to the Trump administration. So it certainly hasn't been resolved, in my view, from a precedent standpoint or, looking down the road standpoint.
So some of your fellow Democrats have pushed to hold a floor vote on releasing that report. Is that the right move? And do you believe there's bipartisan support for that?
I'm not sure if there's bipartisan support or not. I know there were a number of Republicans in the Senate and House that had expressed concerns about his nomination. Whether they would still view it that way at this point, I'm not sure. And I'm not even sure, actually, if the people who offered those resolutions are going to move forward with those. We'll have to wait until we get back. So that's one possible avenue. Another is when we go back on December 5th to the next Ethics Committee meeting, we may be able to resolve something at that point, too. I don't know. And I can't really speak to the potential dynamics of that meeting. I think we'll just have to see how it plays out.
Congressman, just in, we're learning Judge Merchan here in New York has granted the stay on Trump's sentencing that was scheduled for next week in the New York hush money case where he was convicted. What's your reaction?
Well, I've got mixed feelings about it. On the one hand, I understand why the judge would delay it because, if he's going to sentence him to jail, for example, you're not going to sentence the president to jail while he's in the White House. So you'd end up staying the sentence in any event. And it might make sense to wait for a variety of reasons in addition to that. On the other hand, we heard from Mr. Trump talking about 2 tiers of justice for, 3 years or so. And him saying he was getting the short end of justice. I think it's beyond clear at this point that he's gotten special breaks that a regular person would not have gotten. In fact, every day of the week, people who've been convicted of felonies can't get regular jobs, much less elected to the White House. And to postpone the sentencing is something that they don't have a chance to do. So it's disappointing in that respect. Hopefully we'll be able to get to a point where he's held accountable for what he's done. That might have to wait 4 years, but hopefully accountability will come.
There have been the threats of retribution, and we, started this segment talking about Matt Gaetz withdrawing as AG and the ethics report into him. But now we have a new pick for Trump's nominee for Attorney General, which is Pam Bondi, a former attorney general in Florida. She served on Mr. Trump's legal team during his first impeachment. She's backed Trump's false claims of election fraud in 2020. Given you're a former U.S. attorney, what do you think of this choice to lead the Justice Department? And do you take the threats of retribution seriously?
Well, you can't govern if you're scared of retribution, I think. I think it's kind of sad that the threats are being made because obviously they're inappropriate. And I think people are trying to govern in a good faith manner. Certainly, I know that that's my approach. But at the other part of your question, this seems to be a better pick than Mr. Gaetz, but that's not setting a high bar particularly. I'll say this. The Marco Rubio pick I thought was a good one. It was the first one. And so it gave me some hope that maybe Mr. Trump was going to take this process in a better direction than he had previously. But it went downhill pretty fast after that. And so Bondi's better than Gaetz. At least she's got legal experience. At least she's got prosecutorial experience. At least she's got managerial experience. But, the other stuff, the election denialism is of concern. And, we can't count on the vetting process of the Trump transition team. And we've seen that with the Secretary of Defense nomination, the Gates nomination, Tulsi Gabbard's nomination. They're missing big things. So I'll be curious to see how the vetting goes for Ms. Bondi as well.